Welcome to our deep dive. Today, we're going to be exploring wealth creation, but we're going to be doing it through a specific lens, and that is through Dennis Kimbro's book, The Wealth Choice. Now, this book is fascinating because it looks at wealth-building principles, but specifically within the Black community.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, you could almost think of it as like Think and Grow Rich, but tailored to a very specific demographic. And it's got all these fantastic insights from people like Usher and Steve Harvey and John Rogers Jr.
And our goal today is to kind of figure out, what really sets apart those who build this lasting wealth, as opposed to, those who maybe struggle. And one of the things that Kimbro does really well is he uses these anecdotes. For example, he talks about John H. Johnson, the founder of Ebony magazine, and he had this meeting with another really successful businessman. And coincidentally, this guy's name was also John Johnson.
What a coincidence.
And this John Johnson, the millionaire, he emphasizes, right, that building his business took years of dedicated effort. It wasn't like an overnight thing. It was a process.
And this kind of speaks to one of the recurring themes in the book, right? Which is that the wealthy have this distinct objective, this burning desire for something more than just getting by.
It sounds like it's not about just wishing for riches, but about having that concrete ambition. Am I right?
Precisely. It's about identifying that goal that genuinely motivates you. And this is where, we can look at someone like Janice Bryant Howroyd, who's the founder of the ACT1 group. She's got this incredible story. She goes from poverty to heading this multi-million-dollar enterprise. It's really remarkable.
Her story is really inspiring.
Hmm.
But what were the core things, that kind of contributed to her success?
Well, the book highlights a few key things. First, her unwavering faith, but also this relentless work ethic. And a conscious avoidance of that. What do they say? The bling bling life. She was much more focused on her long-term objectives rather than these fleeting displays of wealth.
It's really interesting, especially when you think about some of the stats that Kimbro presents. He talks about spending patterns within the Black community where expenditures often exceed income and savings rates are low. It really makes you think about how your financial practices kind of match up with your aspirations.
Absolutely makes you think about your willingness to make sacrifices in pursuit of financial independence.
Right.
Like, are you prioritizing immediate gratification, or are you trying to build something for the future?
Okay, so we've got our ambition, we've got our discipline. What comes next?
Well, another key thing that Kimbro emphasizes is continuous learning. He actually talks about his own experience being mentored by W. Clement Stone, this highly successful businessman who challenged him to actually finish Napoleon Hill's final work. This mentorship kind of highlights, that ongoing education is so vital in the quest for wealth.
And he backs this up with examples like Damon John from FUBU and B. Smith, the model-turned-restaurateur. Both of them achieved this incredible success through self-education, even though they have very little formal schooling.
So their paths show us that traditional education isn't the only route to financial success, right? It's much more about this thirst for knowledge, this desire to keep expanding your understanding of wealth-building principles.
Makes sense. I mean, without understanding how money works, it's going to be pretty hard to build wealth, wouldn't you say?
You'd think so. And while education is valuable, it's not the be-all and end-all. What really matters is that drive to learn, to keep broadening your comprehension of wealth creation.
Okay, so we've talked about ambition, discipline, and this constant learning. What else is there? What else distinguishes those who build this lasting wealth?
Well, Kimbro also emphasizes a skill that might surprise some people: salesmanship.
Oh, salesmanship. Are you saying that everybody who wants to be wealthy has to become some slick salesperson?
Not necessarily slick, but the principle is important. Think about Usher, for instance. He transitioned, right, from musician to entrepreneur. He even became a part owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. He's not just selling records anymore. He's selling a brand,
Yeah.
a vision. That explains a lot of his diverse success, across these different ventures.
Exactly, and that's Kimbro's point. Every millionaire, no matter what their field is ultimately engaged in selling, whether it's their ideas, their expertise, their products, their vision for the future.
That's a pretty powerful concept. But I think a lot of people, myself included, might hear that and think, well, I'm no salesperson. So how do you even begin to develop that kind of skill?
It starts by recognizing the value that you bring and then being able to communicate that value effectively to other people. It's about building those relationships, those connections, and being able to articulate your vision clearly.
So it's less about like forceful persuasion and more about understanding and conveying your worth.
Precisely. And this ties into another critical aspect that Kimbro emphasizes: financial literacy. He throws out this pretty alarming statistic: 89% of the U.S. population is just 4 paychecks away from disaster.
That's scary. It just underlines how crucial it is to understand how money works.
Right. And Kimbro really hammers home the importance of budgeting, minimizing debt, and making those informed decisions about spending, saving, and investing. He uses John Rogers Jr., founder of Ariel Capital, as a perfect example of someone who's mastered these concepts.
John Rogers Jr. So he's like the poster child for financial literacy then. Tell me more about how he approaches this.
Well, he actually outlined 5 specific wealth building strategies, sort of like a framework for taking control of your finances.
5. Huh. Well, let's break those down. What's the first one?
The first is to invest in yourself. And this doesn't always mean formal education. It could be acquiring new skills, improving your health, or even just expanding your network.
I like that. Cultivating your most valuable asset, which is you. Makes sense.
Mhm.
All right. What's next?
Number 2 is managing your finances, and that involves, well, creating a budget to track income and expenses, pinpointing those areas where you can cut back, and coming up with a plan to pay down any debts. There are so many great tools out there now, too, like budgeting apps and online resources.
So, like, good financial hygiene. Basic, but essential. What's number 3?
The third strategy is controlling your spending. It's about recognizing the difference between your needs and your wants, resisting that urge to keep up with the Joneses, and really being more intentional with your financial choices instead of making those impulsive purchases.
Being mindful of your spending. Appreciate that. All right. What about the fourth one?
This one is all about paying yourself first. Develop that habit of putting a portion of your income into savings before you allocate it to anything else.
Save before you spend. Got it. And the fifth, the final piece of the puzzle.
The fifth strategy is to make your money work for you. Explore investment options that can help your savings grow over time. And, it's okay to seek professional guidance when you need it. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
It's like, you're not just watching your finances, you're actively managing them.
That's it. And it's important to remember these 5 strategies are a framework. The key is understanding the principles behind them and adapting them to your own unique situation.
Good point. So far, we've got ambition, we've got financial discipline, we've got learning, salesmanship, and now financial literacy. It's quite a formula. What else is in this wealth-building recipe?
Well, another thing Kimbro talks about is the importance of finding your niche, of playing to your strengths. And he uses the story of Steve Harvey. He was ridiculed as a kid for wanting to be on TV.
Oh, Steve Harvey. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, a classic case of, proving everyone wrong.
Exactly. And, it took time. He had to persevere. And Kimbro uses this to illustrate that, we all have these unique talents and gifts, right? The key is to figure out what those are and then align our work with those strengths.
So it's more about finding where you excel naturally rather than trying to fit into some predetermined mold.
Exactly. And he gives these great contrasting examples. He talks about Valerie Daniels Carter, who built her fortune in the fast food industry. And then there's Eddie Brown, who found his niche in finance. Completely different fields, but it shows that you can create wealth in any area as long as you're playing to your strengths.
It makes you think, what am I really good at? And am I using those talents to my advantage, when it comes to pursuing financial success? This is a good question for anyone to ask, honestly.
No doubt. And there's another really interesting insight that Kimbro brings up: the importance of service to others.
Service. How does that fit in with wealth creation?
Well, he starts with this really powerful example: Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the Montgomery bus boycott. He talks about King's philosophy of servant leadership, using your platform to uplift others and make a positive impact.
I see where you're going with this. It's about contributing to something bigger than yourself, not just focused on personal gain.
Precisely. And the book is full of examples of people who achieved success while also serving others. Bob Johnson, the founder of BT, he created this platform for Black voices and representation. And Earl Stafford, he used his wealth to create the People's Inaugural Project so that underprivileged citizens could attend Obama's inauguration.
So it's acknowledging that wealth isn't just about individual accumulation. It's also about using your resources to have a positive impact.
Exactly. And that can create this ripple effect, opening up new possibilities and leading to even greater success.
It almost sounds like service isn't just a nice thing to do. It's part of the wealth creation journey itself. I never really thought about it that way.
It's a powerful perspective for sure. And speaking of journeys, Kimbro also talks about the importance of taking the road less traveled.
That reminds me of that Robert Frost poem.
Yeah.
2 roads diverged in a wood, and I I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference, you know?
Right. He talks about folks who went against conventional wisdom and carved out their own path. Like, look at Lonnie Johnson, the inventor of the Super Soaker. Talk about an unconventional idea. And look at the success he achieved.
That's inspiring, honestly. It shows how innovation and creativity can really drive wealth creation.
Without a doubt. And Kimbro ties this to the whole idea of taking calculated risks, you know? You can't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone and chase your vision, even if it's different from what everyone else is doing.
It's about pushing the boundaries, challenging the status quo, believing in your ability to create something truly unique.
Exactly. And that leads us to another critical element, the importance of belief and self-worth.
I'm sensing a theme here. Mindset, it seems like, plays a huge role in all of this.
You're absolutely right. Kimber says that your net worth is ultimately a reflection of your self-worth.
So if you don't believe you're worthy of wealth, you're probably not going to achieve it.
It's not that simple, of course, but it's a powerful idea. He talks about Les Brown, the motivational speaker who overcame a tough childhood to achieve financial success. Brown's journey shows how much self-belief matters, even when faced with obstacles.
It's about believing in yourself, in your abilities, in your potential, even when others might doubt you.
And Kimber's not talking about some kind of magical thinking here. It's about recognizing your inherent value and then actually doing the work, building those skills, and developing your talents.
So it's a combination of inner belief and outward action.
Exactly. And it's something we can all work on no matter where we are in our lives.
We've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about defining goals, financial discipline, learning, salesmanship, financial literacy, finding your niche, serving others, taking risks, and now self-belief. It's like a whole blueprint for success.
It is, isn't it? And Kimbro brings it all together with a really powerful closing message.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's that?
He says it's about more than just money.
More than money. Can you elaborate on that?
He argues that wealth goes beyond simply accumulating dollars and cents. It's about freedom, opportunity, impact, and living a life of purpose.
So it's about using your wealth to build the kind of life you want and to contribute to the world in a meaningful way.
Exactly. He points to Bob Johnson's story as an example. His success with Beat wasn't just about the financial rewards. It was about creating something that would empower the Black community and provide a platform for their voices.
It's about recognizing that wealth is a tool that can help you achieve your dreams and make a difference.
And Kimbro ends the book with this very powerful quote. He says, "Until you are free economically, true independence will always be an afterthought."
Wow, that's quite a statement.
Yeah.
It really highlights how crucial financial freedom is, for achieving true independence and being able to live life on your own terms.
It's a reminder that we all have the power to create our own wealth and shape our destiny.
This has been an amazing conversation. So much to think about, just from one book.
It's a testament to the power of Kimbro's message and the stories he shares.
I think anyone who is serious about achieving lasting wealth and living a fulfilling life, this book it's a great place to start.
Absolutely. But it's important to remember the real value is in applying these principles to your own life.
Oh, for sure. Just reading about it isn't enough. You've got to take action, put these ideas into practice.
That's where the real journey begins.
This deep dive has really got my wheels turning. What are your biggest takeaways, personally from the wealth choice?
For me, it's the emphasis on mindset and self-belief. Kimbro makes such a strong case for the idea that what you believe about yourself, about money, it all really impacts your financial outcomes.
Totally agree. It's about recognizing that you have the power to create the life you want, both financially and in every other area.
And it's about taking control of your financial well-being, making conscious choices that align with your goals.
For sure. And the book gives you those practical tools and strategies to get there.
It's not just theory. It's full of real-world examples and action steps that you can actually implement.
It's inspiring to see how many people from all walks of life have achieved incredible success using these principles.
Right. It shows that anyone, regardless of their background, can create wealth if they're willing to put in the effort and make smart choices.
But it's important to remember, financial wealth is just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to living a truly fulfilling life.
You're right. Kimbro doesn't shy away from that. He talks about the importance of service, of purpose, of using your wealth to make a positive impact on the world.
It's about finding that balance, isn't it? Making sure your financial goals are aligned with your values and that you're creating a life that is both prosperous and meaningful.
That's it. And I think that message resonates with everyone, no matter how much money they make.
You know, the book focuses primarily on financial wealth, but it makes me wonder, could these same principles be applied to other areas of life?
Now that's an interesting thought.
What if you took those same ideas and applied them to, say, your relationships, your health, your personal growth?
I like where you're going with this.
What if we focused on building wealth in all those areas?
Hmm. That's definitely worth exploring.
After all, true wealth is about more than just money, right?
Absolutely. It's about living a rich life in every sense of the word.
And I think the wealth choice provides a roadmap, for achieving that kind of holistic wealth.
It's a valuable resource for anyone who wants to create a life they love and make a difference.
Couldn't agree more. It's like those principles, they're universal. You could adapt them to any area where you want to grow and create abundance.
I think you're onto something there. Imagine applying those 5 wealth-building strategies to your relationships, for instance.
Let's see. Investing in yourself, that could mean prioritizing self-care, learning how to communicate more effectively, or developing your emotional intelligence.
Right. And managing your finances in a relationship context, that could be about setting healthy boundaries, communicating your needs clearly, and making sure you're dedicating time to nurturing those connections.
Controlling your spending. That might look like being more discerning about how you spend your time and energy, walking away from those relationships that are toxic or draining.
I like that. And paying yourself first.
Hmm.
In a relationship, that could mean making sure your own needs are met before you try to meet the needs of others.
And making your money work for you. Maybe that means investing in experiences that strengthen your relationships, like spending quality time with loved ones or doing acts of service for those you care about.
It's amazing how those principles can be applied so broadly. It really changes how you think about wealth creation.
It reinforces the idea that it's not just about money, it's about creating a life of abundance in every area.
And I think that message is especially important today, when we're bombarded with messages about what we should buy, what we should own, how we should look. It's easy to get caught up in that whole consumerist mindset.
Yeah, it's everywhere you look.
But the wealth choice reminds us that true wealth isn't about those superficial things. It's about aligning your financial goals with your values, finding your purpose, and using your resources to make a positive impact.
It's about building a life that is both prosperous and meaningful.
Exactly. And that's something we can all aspire to, no matter where we come from or how much money we have.
Well said. This has been a really enlightening conversation. So many valuable insights to take away from the wealth choice.
It's a reminder that we all have the potential to create wealth and abundance, both financially and in every other area of our lives.
And it all starts with making a choice. The choice to believe in ourselves, define our goals, and take action.
The choice to embrace the principles of wealth creation and apply them to every area of our lives.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought. What if we all challenged ourselves to redefine wealth?
To move beyond that narrow definition of financial success and embrace a more holistic vision of abundance.
What if we focused on building wealth in our relationships, our health, our communities, and our personal growth?
What if we used our resources, not just our money, but our time, talents, and energy, to make a positive impact on the world?
That's a wealth choice worth making, don't you think?
Absolutely.
And before we wrap up, let's condense what we've learned from the wealth choice into 10 key takeaways.
Number 1, define a clear and compelling goal.
Number 2, develop financial discipline and a strong work ethic.
Number 3, embrace lifelong learning and expand your understanding of wealth creation.
Number 4, master the art of salesmanship, meaning understanding and conveying your unique value.
Number 5, make financial literacy a priority. That means budgeting, minimizing debt, and making smart investments.
Number 6, know your strengths and use those to your advantage. Find your niche.
Number 7, give back and serve others. Contribute to something larger than yourself.
Number 8, don't be afraid to take calculated risks and forge your own path.
Number 9, believe in yourself and recognize your worth.
And number 10, remember, true wealth is about more than just money. It's about freedom, opportunity, impact, and living a life of purpose.
That's a great summary of the wealth-building wisdom you can find in the wealth choice.
Well, that's it for our deep dive into the wealth choice. We hope this conversation has inspired you, given you some new ideas to think about, and maybe even sparked a desire to create a life of true abundance. Remember, the journey to wealth, in all its forms, starts with a single step: Take that step today.
It really does. It makes you rethink what wealth really means, It's not just about the money.
It's about living a rich life in every sense, right?
That's it. And Kimbro's work, it's like a breath of fresh air because we're constantly bombarded with these messages telling us to buy more, to upgrade, to keep up with the Joneses.
Oh, I know. It's relentless. Everywhere you look, it's all about consuming more and more.
But the wealth choice, it's like this reminder that real wealth, it's not about all those material things. It's about finding those things that truly align with your values, your goals, and your purpose. And then using those resources, those tools to make a positive impact.
It's about building a life that has both financial success and meaning.
Exactly. And that's something we can all strive for no matter what our starting point is.
Those are some incredibly valuable insights. This whole deep dive into the wealth choice, it's been a real eye-opener. I mean, there's so much to take away from this book, so much to apply to our own lives.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that we all have this potential to create wealth and abundance, not just financially, but in every area of life.
And it all starts with making that choice,
Yeah.
choosing to believe in ourselves, to set those goals, and then take action.
It's about embracing those principles of wealth creation and applying them to every part of who we are and what we do.
So, as we bring this episode to a close, I want to leave you with this one final question. What if we all challenged ourselves to redefine what wealth really means to us?
You mean like going beyond that limited view of just financial success to a more holistic, well-rounded idea of abundance?
Exactly. What if we focused on building wealth in those other areas? Our relationships, our health, our communities, our personal growth.
What if we took all our resources, not just our money, but also our time, our talents, our energy, and use those to make a real difference in the world?
Now that's a wealth choice worth making.
No doubt about it.
Well, that concludes our deep dive into the wealth choice. We hope this conversation has inspired you, given you some new ideas to think about, and maybe even sparked a desire to create a life filled with true abundance. Remember, the journey to wealth, in all its forms, begins with a single step. So take that step today.